Alright, there we go, guys. Hopefully I have got this all worked out. Of course, as I was getting everything all set up, I had some technical difficulties, and now I've got stuff playing repeatedly, and let's, see? This is exactly what I was talking about here. So, let's see, learning to shut off my redundant streams here. Everything looks good. So this is my very first live stream, so let me introduce myself. I am Bart Johnson. I am a cinematographer and filmmaker based out of the Washington, D.C. area. And I've been doing YouTube for a few years, but I never really got into doing live content. And I always really liked people having live shows. And now that the technology is getting much more affordable, I figured it would be something that I would try looking into. And so I'm going to go over sort of how I got everything set up here in my little home office with you guys. And yeah, so before we get started up here, like I said, I'm still figuring out how to... audio output is a little low. Thank you, Devin. Good to see you. See, I'm getting the hang of this here, so I'll bump it up a little bit here. Rajesh, thank you for letting me know that it is indeed working. So I've been playing around with a lot of different stuff, and here, actually, here's one of the cool things that I figured out. Let's see if this works. No, of course it doesn't work. Well, never mind then. So I'll go ahead... and if everything is looking good and sounding good, I'll dive right into it. So like I said, guys, live streaming is something that I've wanted to do for a while, and I never really dove into it until just recently. So an opportunity is coming up that should be starting next month, where I'm going to be doing live streaming for another company, and I'll announce more about that as it gets closer. But I wanted to update and get a nice live streaming setup. And I've also always considered doing it for my YouTube channel as well, because I love the live interaction and all that. So I decided to dive in and see what was out there. So I'm going to go through both the stuff software-wise and hardware-wise that I have everything set up here. So the software that I am using to run everything is called OBS. I believe it's Open Broadcast Software, and it is free. So it has some technical difficulties. It's not as smooth in terms of getting all sorts of animations and stuff set up, but it's free, so I figured it was a good place to start. And so far I've been able to get it to run pretty well. So let's see if I can do this. So I think I can take you guys... yes, I can take you guys to the OBS website here. So it's obsproject.com, and you can go ahead and you can check it out. It's available for both Windows and for Mac. And a lot of people use it, see, for stuff like Twitch and on gaming stuff, but it works just fine for anything. Basically, it allows you to connect various different sources, whether they be screen captures like I just did right there, or video inputs like I'm doing for a camera, and organize all those and get everything all set up. And then it handles the encoding and then sends everything out to whatever your streaming site is. In my case here, I managed to figure out how to get it streaming to YouTube. So I assume that people will tell me if it didn't work, but hopefully it is working the way that it is supposed to. And so it allows you to do a bunch of different things and bring in different animations. Like I made this little lower third animation that'll pop up here. So that's just a video asset that comes through and plays and goes out. Let's see what else I got here. So I can actually, I'll share my screen so you guys can kind of see what this software looks like. But I'm going to warn you, you're going to get some Inception craziness. So here we go. So like I said, there is everything. So this is the actual software window. It allows me to organize all my stuff here. I've created, you know, a starting slide, so I can show you guys that. That's what I was playing while I'm getting everything figured out. Then I can go to, I had my intro video that played. I won't put you guys through that again right now. I have the lower thirds thing. I have my main camera, and so I'll get into that a little later. Gear Jones is here. Good to see you guys. Okay, so it's working a little blocky, but not bad. Okay, so one of the things I'm going to have to do is play around with the bit rates and settings. I got a little ambitious and tried to go full 1080 with this, and maybe that's causing it. I know a lot of people stream at 720p, and I wanted to try 1080, but maybe I'll try another one in the future at 720 and see if that holds. Yeah, because I can see, let me go back here. I can see some of my results are saying that, you know, my stream goes from green to yellow to red, so it looks like it might be buffering and having some bitrate issues. All stuff to learn and figure out. But so I did one live stream before, technically, to a Facebook page, to Aperture, the company's Facebook page, and I used OBS, but I used the built-in camera on my iMac. And while it worked, I have so many nicer cameras that I wanted to get away from that and see what I could do to get better quality. Because what you would see with the webcam is this. So yeah, not terrible, but it's very clearly a webcam. It's, you know, it's not the greatest, and I wanted to be able to make use of some of my other cameras. So I have cameras like, you know, the Ursa Mini from Blackmagic, and I most recently have the Panasonic GH5. And so the GH5 is what I'm using right now. So all that you really need to do is be able to get the output from your camera into your computer, and then OBS will recognize that source feed, and you can go ahead and push it out. And so the Ursa Mini has SDI, so I wanted to get something that had the capabilities, if I ever do want to use that camera, to have an SDI input into the computer. And the GH5 has HDMI out, very common HDMI out. And so I wanted to be able to do HDMI. And so I went looking around and watched a lot of channels and a lot of feeds of other YouTubers who do live stuff, seeing how they got set up. I'll go ahead and show you guys what I found. So let's see here. Make sure I know what I'm doing here. This microphone makes it really hard to see. Let's see if this works. It did. Okay, so this is what I found. It's the BlackMagic Design UltraStudio Mini Recorder. It's a really excessively long name. But basically what this is it is a box that allows you to do either SDI in or HDMI in, and then it has a Thunderbolt output. So what happens is you take that Thunderbolt connection, connect it to your Thunderbolt capable computer, and when you plug a source into the UltraStudio Mini, it pops up as an available video capture device or video feed on the computer. It's surprisingly plug and play. I thought it was going to be something that required a lot of driver and setup, and it wasn't. I would show you guys the actual thing itself, but it's buried in the corner over there because it's being used right now. And so what happened is I was able to plug the HDMI from my GH5 directly into that, and then Thunderbolt out into my Thunderbolt daisy chain, and now I have this video source, and it looks so much better than something like this. This is not the greatest, not the prettiest. So we come back to here. So there you go. So there is the, let me pull that back up. There is the UltraStudio Mini Recorder from Blackmagic. Only $137.75. I had seen other stuff from companies like Epiphan that connected via USB USB 3, mind you, but I figured that Thunderbolt seemed a little bit more reliable. And those are like, $400 and up, which was really, really expensive. So I decided to try this guy out. Now, it does have the name Blackmagic on it, so it does have its quirks. I have been having some issues with it. I've had to do some system restarts to get it to recognize the feed. I've had to disconnect and reconnect the device itself to get it to recognize the feed. I've had to connect a different HDMI device into it, and then it'll see that feed, and then I can plug it back into the GH5 and it sees that. So I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm not sure why it's having issues. It seems to broadcast just fine. I haven't had issues in the middle of a broadcast, but as soon as a broadcast ends and I close that, the next time I try and open it up, I have to restart and reset everything to get the feed to show up again. So it could be that the output from the camera is not something that it likes. It could be that I have it running through daisy chain of Thunderbolt stuff, so it might not like that. Or it could be that it's just finicky Blackmagic design hardware. Blackmagic really doesn't like to work with anything other than Blackmagic. So maybe if I connect it to the Ursa Mini, maybe then it'll just work flawlessly. I'll look into that. I've got plenty of testing to do. So there we go. Another issue that I'm having with it is I couldn't get it to reliably output audio. So I wanted to wear a lav mic and wirelessly send that to the GH5 using the XLR unit, and then have that audio come out from the camera and go through the whole thing. So that would be my audio feed, and I wouldn't have any need for another microphone like this. But it would work for a few minutes, and then all of a sudden it would start sputtering in and out, and I couldn't get it to come back. So for the time being, I've decided to just go with this trusty microphone here that I've had for forever. I had to actually search and figure out what the hell it was, and I was able to find it. So let me go ahead. Man, this mic is so big I can't see. I'll have to play around with the setup. So if we go here, the mic that I am using here is the CAD U37 USB Studio Condenser Recording Microphone in champagne color. It's not the greatest. I bought it a long time ago to just try and do some voiceover stuff for some of my YouTube tutorials, and it's nothing spectacular. I do want the audio quality of this of the live streams to be better in the future, a little bit cleaner, a little bit richer sound. But for the time being, this microphone means that you can hear me, and that's all that I need. So what else did I want to show you guys? Okay, so we're good on that. I've shown you guys that stuff there. I spent so much time trying to fix the bugs before I went live that I completely basically like erased my brain of the stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I think I'm going through it. So Gear Jones says that the GH5 angle is a bit out of sync. So I'm going to have to... Oh. Yep. Okay. So... Oh, wait. It's not that issue. So I'll have to play with that because over HDMI, inherently, there's a slight delay to the video. And I had it set up earlier where I was compensating for it, but that's when I was running audio through the HDMI from the camera. So I had everything, video and audio, coming through the HDMI, and I had about a 1 second delay. And the software, OBS, does allow you to delay your audio so that you can sync them up. And so I was able to do that, and it was looking good, but then I got the sputtering and everything went nuts, and I bailed on that completely. My output is a bit low. Probably use some compression limiter or something. Yeah, I'm going to have to look into the audio. Like I said, a lot of stuff to mess around with. Okay, so the sync is drifting in and out. let's see if I can pull. Oh, this is the other cool trick I figured out. I figured out how to make these overlays so that you can see. Where is it? I can't do this. We can see our comments here. So the sync is drifting in and out. I have a feeling that might have something to do with the stream strength. I do keep seeing that it's green right now, but occasionally the bitrate is dropping a little bit. So I'm going to look into that, and I have a feeling that that's what's going for it. So if I drop the resolution of the video down to like 720, and keep my bitrate at a certain pace, I might be able to get all these problems fixed. And of course, it's Saturday night, so don't judge me. I'm having a beer. But yeah, so that's good to know. So thank you for letting me know that we are having some issues and everything's not quite ironed out yet. So let me see. Was there anything else I wanted to show you guys? I don't think so. That's basically how I have it set up. Okay, so a quick question: What are you using to view YouTube comments? So OBS is what I'm using actually. So OBS allows you to add what they call a browser window as one of your assets on screen. So let's see, I can go to, no, it's not going to pop up. Oh, maybe it will. Okay, so let me try this. So in addition to having them, let me go to my iMac screen. Sorry about the inception. So in addition to keeping the chat popped out over here so I can see the entirety of everything, in OBS, when I go to my live chat one, you can create different things. So I can create here what's called a browser source. And I'm not sure if you guys can see it or not because it's covered, but you can create a new browser source, and when you create that, you give it a website address, and then you can resize it and do all sorts of stuff to it, and put it off to the side. And so that's what I did. So basically I took the pop-out chat, so I can cancel this. So I took the pop-out chat, and if you right click, you can do copy website address. And so I copied the website address, I pasted it into a browser window item, and then on this live chat scene that I have here, when I click and open that, there's no comments in there right now, but from here over to the edge of the screen, that's really hard to do, is where I have that browser window put in. And so as anything pops up, so let's see if I type something. See, there it goes. So it'll pop up. And so if we had more people in here, it would be going, a lot more. And then to get it to be transparent and not look just like this, because this is what it originally did look like. OBS allows you to input some CSS code, and with the CSS code you can go in and you can add all sorts of stuff to change the font, change the size, and then basically you can make the background transparent and all that kind of stuff. So I went onto GitHub. I actually found where someone had already pre-made a CSS code that did this, and I copied and pasted it in, and it ended up working pretty good. I may play with the size and all that. Hopefully, as I get further into doing live streaming and do this more regularly, I'll have some more viewers and stuff like that. And then I'll figure out how this will work best to manage this, because it might get crazy with stuff coming all over the screen. But I mean, I can of course shut it off, and you know, if it's going crazy, and I still have everything off to the side there, so I still have everything over here, and I can see everybody's comments. So I'm figuring out how I want to get it all set up. So you're asking specifically about the CSS code. So I found one on GitHub, so I'm gonna have to go and find it again, and I will find that and I will post it. I will post a link to it in the description of this video. So I won't forget about that. I'll go and get that in there because it was just free for anyone to grab and just punch the code in, and you can tweak it from there. And yeah, you just said, you know, you might want to increase the size. That's something that I might have to do. It's pretty easy for me to see because I have a giant screen in front of me, but that doesn't mean it's easy for everybody else to see. So I might play with the font size and go in there and mess with the CSS code a little bit. So I think that's about it in terms of the gear that I am using. I'm messing with the lighting setup. You know, I have one of my aperture panels over there lighting me. I have another aperture panel back behind me, and I actually have the new aperture Mini 20 lights, and you can see one. You can see that one in frame. I actually have 3 of them. 3 of them are running. So one is sort of shooting down over here. I've got another one down on the floor back there that's shooting up to give a little bounce off the ceiling. So those are something that I got in just a few days ago, and I'm using them every day. I love them, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing those. So that'll be a video coming on my channel hopefully soon, as soon as I get those guys all tested out. I do have a lot of reviews and stuff that I've got laying around here that I need to get to, but of course I got the live streaming bug, and I got completely sidetracked. So Gary Stockton, thank you for joining. I see we've got some people coming in. And let's see here, subvids. What camera and capture device is working for you? So like I said, I'm using the Panasonic GH5, doing an HDMI output into a BlackMagic UltraStudio Mini Recorder. Let me pull it up for you. I really can't see around that microphone. So this guy right here, the Blackmagic Design UltraStudio Mini Recorder, is what I purchased, and I'm running that into a, what is this, a 2015 iMac, I think, and then I am using OBS Software to send everything out. So this is, wow, there's a lot going on, but this is the OBS. Let me get this out of the way. So this is the OBS software here that's allowing me to output my stream directly to YouTube. So, okay. All right, so I had no real structure or plan for this. I just wanted it to be a test and see if stuff works. It looks like for the most part it does. It looks like I've got a lot of work to go to finesse everything and make sure that it works reliably in the future, because this type of show is something that I think I want to do a lot more of. I think I want to start doing maybe a weekly show. Maybe weekly is a little ambitious, so maybe bi-weekly, you know, twice a month is more realistic. And those will include both when I'm here at home in my office/studio, and also when I'm out on the road, because anybody who knows me knows I travel a lot. And now if I can, with a laptop, that little converter box from Blackmagic and the GH5, set up in a hotel room or something and start broadcasting, internet connection dependent, of course, that would be great. So Gary, you asked, do you plan on doing interviews via OBS? So interviews and guest hosts and stuff like that is something that I would definitely consider for a live show. And I just need to figure out the technical aspect of doing it. So in terms of doing interviews, like, I don't know if you've seen any of my NAB content. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to, like live streaming directly from show floors or interviewing people like that. Probably not. At least not with this setup. I know it can be done, but for those you really, I believe you really want something like a tier deck VidiU or some of those other systems that are an all-in-one box that take the feed in and push it out. So it skips the software, it skips the computer. Okay, so you've been doing it in Wirecast and bringing in Skype callers. So yeah, that is something that I'm definitely considering for the future. I know a lot of good people that it'd be great to have on a show, and be able to have audience interaction and all that kind of stuff. And it seems simple enough to set up. So it is something that I will be looking into. As long as I can iron all the bugs out of the operation here, then I plan on getting a lot more ambitious and seeing what I can do. So let's see. Can you get 4K 60 off of the GH5's HDMI? That's a good question, and I did not address that. So the reason that the Blackmagic UltraStudio Mini Recorder is only about $140 is that it is 1080 and below only. So it will not do 4K of any frame rate. And judging by the quality and strength of the output of my stream right now, I don't even think I could push out 4K. So 1080 only into that. So I am doing 1080 out, 1080 30p over HDMI directly into it, and that's what we're working with. I'd like to stick with 1080 and not have to bump it down to 720, but who knows? I mean, I may be able to figure out some settings and figure out, you know, I'm new at this. I've been playing with this software for 2 days, and this is where I got. So I got a lot more to learn, and there's a lot of great channels and content out there that I've been just watching and guzzling down as much information as I can to figure out how to do this stuff. This was my sink or swim sort of broadcast to see if I could get this thing off the ground and going. So I'm glad that we got some people in here. That's awesome. Since this is something that I don't normally do, I didn't know if anyone would show up. And yeah, I'm glad you guys did come in. So you should try vMix. What is vMix? I'll make a note to look it up. vMix. And of course, I'm completely surrounded by technology. I'm wirelessly broadcasting myself through the internet to however many people are watching and however many people will watch in the future. And I still take notes on good old pen and paper. So some things never go out of style. But I'll look into vMix. And I am open to, in the future, getting paid software. I've seen a lot of good things out there, but I wanted to sort of see how much I could stretch on free software. Plus, we're looking at buying houses right now, and I don't think a whole bunch of software and hardware purchases would make my wife very happy at the moment. So I'm gonna not do that. I'll try it a little bit further down the road. Oh, Gary, why did you have to ask? You asked, what kind of beer is that? Well, I am a huge beer fan. I get to go and travel and visit all different breweries all around the country whenever I travel for work. And so I get to try a lot of good beers. But this, unfortunately, is not one of them. This is Budweiser. Yes, I'll openly admit it. It's sort of the I don't care beer. And I just grabbed it and we had it. But I was hoping no one would really call me out on it, so instead of just drinking it out of like the can, I did put it in like a fancier glass so that it looked classier. So I could have lied to you and said it was something else, but I'll be honest, it's Budweiser. But yeah, so I'm gonna keep going here for probably another 10 minutes or so. Maybe, I mean, if there's reason to. But if you guys have any questions about anything, whether it be about this live stream setup, whether it be about my channel, whether it be about cameras and filmmaking or anything like that, feel free to go ahead and pop that into the chat and I'll see if I can answer. And also, if you guys have any suggestions for live show either formats or content. So that's one thing that I was sort of struggling with. You know, what is the format of the show going to be? And by format, I don't mean, you know, 720 and 1080 and all the technical formats. But I mean, in terms of do I want to do a sort of thing where I intro, then come in, maybe do some news updates? Do I want to have a guest on shows? Or do I want to just hang out and have them be like Saturday evening chats where, you know, I might hit on a subject for 20 minutes or so and then open the floor up? But yeah, so let's see here. Think it's been a success overall. The test broadcasts help you figure out what's not working. It's the choppiness and slight sync issue that needs to be fixed. Yep, that's what I'm hearing. And thank you. I'm glad this was a success overall. And technically for this, even failure would have been a success because it would help me figure out what I need to do to get these things perfect. So I'm going to play with the audio delay and figure out what's up with that sync issue. And the choppiness, although I have a feeling that both of those may be because I just don't know what I'm doing in terms of the buffering and stream bitrate and, you know, everything is trying to push out. So I have a feeling that if I do some more research and figure out all those, you know, behind the curtain technical specs to make sure that the stream stays in the green health-wise the whole time, I'm hoping that that will simultaneously fix both of those problems. But yeah, Gary, you say I'm very good at this out of the gate. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I've always considered myself to be a very personable person, and I like talking with people, and I like sharing with people. And now I can, you know, share and communicate with people all around the world live, directly from wherever I am. So, your challenges, yeah, always audio issues. Man, whether it's live video or any video, audio is always the thing. That's why you always get a good sound guy who knows what they're doing. Audio escapes me completely, even pre-recorded. So audio live, I'm screwed. No, I'll get it sorted out and figure it out, and hopefully we'll get this thing running nice and smoothly and all that. And I'm also playing with what my angle is gonna be, and you know what's in I mean, you can see the lights in the background. I'm not sure if I like that or not. I mean, it sort of feels like a more sort of behind the scenes access type of show, you know, in terms of us just communicating and all that. And so I don't feel that I needed to dress it up and show that it's not like a working set basically in my office. And so, I mean, yeah, here, I'll show you guys here. It'll probably be out of focus, but let me show you this. Like, so there you go. I've got a lot going on over my head there, all running on a C-stand there. I would reveal more of my home office studio to you, but I only cleaned the portion you can see. So I'll give you guys a tour at a later date. And maybe I'll get a multicam thing set up at some point in the future. So that's something I want to look into as well. I'm not sure if getting a bunch of the UltraStudio Minis is the way I want to go for that. I would probably spend a little bit more money and get a single box that can take multiple sources in. So that might be a ways down the road. Because one of the things that does suck about that is there's no Thunderbolt pass-through. So I like to daisy chain a bunch of my Thunderbolt accessories, and when you stick that UltraStudio Mini on there, you have terminated your daisy chain. You can't put anything beyond that because there's no loop through. So just a little quirk, but you know, if you wanted to run 3 cameras, that's not going to be the way to go, because you can't. I mean, you could eat up 3 Thunderbolt ports on something, but you're just killing yourself here. So let's see here. So yes, when we click the bell on your channel, we'll get notification for when you schedule another session. That is correct. Please, if you have not done that, go ahead and do that, because I really do want to get this to be a regular thing. Like I said, maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly. Maybe Saturday evenings is the best time, you know, maybe a weekend afternoon. So I'll play around with that and get it dialed in. But yeah, make sure to click that notification bell so that you know when I have the next one going up, because I do plan on scheduling these and releasing an announcement for them, you know, in advance, so that you guys know that it'll be coming, and then hopefully I'll get regular enough that you'll just know that, you know, Saturday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, that's when I'm on. So that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping to get all that stuff up and going. So let's see here. Social Media Examiner publishes a Google Calendar with their live sessions all planned out. Sounds like they've got a lot more live sessions happening than I am planning on. I am just one man, and I already complain to people, not really complain, but explain that with all the work that I do, I work full-time for a production company. I also run my own production company, Bart Johnson Productions, and I have clients through that. And then I have the YouTube channel. And so I find it really difficult to consistently put out content. I want to do all these reviews justice. I want to make sure that I'm actually using stuff before I get it, put a review out there. You know, don't just take something out of the box and then be like, here's what I think about it. Like, no. So now I'm also tacking on the promise of delivering a live show. But I want to do this, and I think it'll be good. This is, you know, this seems to be a good platform for it. So let's see here. I'm glad you're reading comments. A few YouTubers I follow who do live streams don't, which almost defeats the object. I think it completely defeats the purpose of a live stream. Unless you're covering like an event or something that is happening that people can't attend. Live shows are about interaction. It's about people asking questions. It's about talking. And so I watch a lot of weekly live shows, and you know, if you miss one and you watch the, you know, when it's encoded and uploaded as a standalone video, you feel like you missed out on something. Even though you might not have really interacted, you feel like you missed out on something. So it really is about the interaction, and it's about answering questions. That is my favorite part, is when I ask a YouTuber a question in their during their show, and then they read it and then they say my name. You know, it's like, it's the weirdest, silliest thing in the world, but it's like, oh my gosh, they mentioned my name in their show, like, oh, look at that. I don't know, it just, you feel important, you feel like you've met the person, and you feel connected, and who knows, maybe someday we will meet in person. I'm all over the place, so if, you know, this if this takes off, maybe we'll do some meetups and all sorts of kind of stuff. So so let's see here. Silvio, hello, welcome. Thank you so much for joining. Just pop it into the Q&A winding down part of this here. So Gary, Justin takes Q&A via Instagram while streaming. Okay, Instagram is something that I have, but I have by no means mastered yet. So I've had it since April, and I can say it's since April because all of my buddies at NAB were harping on me for not having it, finally got me to get it, and I've been slowly using it, but I'm sure that I am not using it to the fullest of its potential and purpose. And that's a platform that I need to figure out. I feel like I'm turning into the old man. You know, it's like, oh, I don't understand the technology that the kids use, but I will figure Instagram out, and maybe that's a cool way of doing it. I've seen people do it, you know, where they open up maybe a day before on Twitter and ask for questions and stuff like that. So, you know, I've got a lot of decisions to make and a lot of flexibility, and I can really make this into sort of whatever I want and whatever you guys want. And that's really what it's about. You know, I can sit in this little room by myself and talk and talk and talk all I want, and I'm perfectly content with if nobody's listening. But I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys stuff that you want to listen to and that you want to talk to me. So, BlackMagic ATEM switches for multiple cameras. Yeah, it's something I know about. But Rajesh, it's expensive. So one of the channels that I love, I watch his daily live show, is Photo Joseph. He does a live show every single day. It's of great quality. It's really professional, and yeah, he uses a BlackMagic ATEM, and yeah, I'm not ready to jump into that yet. Maybe once we get a new house, get moved into it, and I sort of take over the basement and convert it into a true studio where I've got more space than the, you know, tiny little room that I'm in right now. I don't even know how to guess what size this is. But when I have enough space where I can set stuff up in a permanent configuration, so that I don't have to worry about breaking stuff down or reconnecting stuff and all that, then that may be the time for bringing out the big guns and really doing it. But yeah, that's a good recommendation. So you can post on a hashtag and expand audience, but was surprised that it was his primary Q&A. Yeah, that is interesting. So yeah, he uses it as his primary Q&A. Well, maybe he has a really big following on Instagram, and people interact with him more on that platform, and maybe he's using that to sort of drive and boost his YouTube. I don't know which one's bigger, if his Instagram is bigger than his YouTube or his YouTube is bigger than his Instagram. Maybe he's trying to use one to, you know, flow people to the other and keep everything well-rounded. But that's interesting. So I think the method that I've got set up right now for how I can see your comments, how I have them popping up. So as I have them popping up here, so that everyone else can see them, but I have a permanent running list. Let me show you that. So I have everything right here. This makes it easy for me. I think this is a pretty good setup. I think what I'll do is, if I go mobile, I'll find a solution either where I use my iPad and put the comments on that or something. I'll get it figured out. There's a lot that'll go into this that I need to figure out. All right, guys. Well, I think that's about it for me. I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. And wrapping it up means that I have one more thing at the end to see if my end screen works. So we'll find out in just a second if I set that up properly. But I really appreciate you guys hanging with me. I'm sorry that it gets a little choppy, and I'm sorry that there's an audio sync issue, but I'm going to hunt those down and figure it out. And please subscribe to my channel, and as Gary said, click that notification bell, because I do plan on having more of these coming. I really like the possibilities that are out there for you know, doing a live show and audience interaction. So guys, I really appreciate it. Everybody have a great evening. If you're East Coast here, it's Saturday evening. So you guys take care and look out for the next one. I'm going to get everything figured out, I promise. Hey, look at that. It worked. Alright, guys. See ya.